What are the newspapers reporting for us this morning? Now, of course, number one is the biggest conversation out there, where AG has slapped about 39 charges on him, and people are actually excited about it because some people are of the opinion that Nam1 has taken them for granted for too long, and it's about time this man actually pays for what he has caused to people. I'll start off with the very first newspaper, which is the Daily Graphic newspaper. Largest salt mine starts operation. Electrochem employs 3,000 workers, and this is actually good news. We saw it yesterday as well, and people are excited about it. This is actually probably one of the one district, one factory. Yeah. Nam1 slapped with 39 criminal charges, and there's an editorial, Daily Graphic. GSA ISO Breakfast Summit, nation must rally behind industrial agenda, panelists says so. The Daily Guide newspaper is next, and the Daily Guide newspaper reads, 540 garment textile companies receive YEA funds. Alan speaks tough over attack on agent. AG slaps Nam1 with 39 charges, and Nana opens Africa's biggest salt mine. I'll do a bit of sports at the back page. IPC press coming for Accra Para Games. Haaland beats them all. Kudus hits the ground running, and the UN backs cased Spanish player. The New Crusading Guide. 2 shots dead, several others injured at Adwejuri. Osahene Boachi Jan is dead. Wow, may his soul rest in peace. This might be a very difficult time for his family, and so we pray with the family and that God should help them in this difficult time. Ghana breaks salt barriers as the Kufuor commissions Africa's biggest mine. VRA's profit-making trend amazing, Doma East MP Lord CEO. AG files charges against Nam1, court hearing fixed for 19th of September. Let's shift focus to blue economy to promote economic growth, Dr. Sabons Dixon says so. And stop threatening and behave like party man group, cautions Kennedy Agyapong. Okay, Kennedy Agyapong is one very vocal man, I must say. He's one of the most vocal persons ever. The New Crusading Guide newspaper is the paper I just read, and he's one of the most vocal persons in the NPP. It looks like some people are of the opinion that he's actually going to take the NPP by storm on November 4th when they go for their delegates conference. He might pull a shocker, because when they had their super delegates conference, little did they expect him to come in as number 2. Most of them expected Honorable Alan Kojo-Kyerematen to come in as number 2, but Honorable Kennedy Agyapong shocked fans. Will he do it again? We are yet to know, but he's very vocal. And he's actually facing the disciplinary committee. We don't know the outcome yet, but of course we'll get to know definitely. Business Finder, prioritize succession planning. Dr. Awal advises tourism industry players. Second Lady leads AfriWalk team to Kenya, and YEA disburses 12.9 million Ghana cedis to garment textile model trainers. And that'll be all for the Business Finder newspaper as well. And of course, I told you that we have a lot of topics to delve into. Gabon is in hot waters as the president has been overthrown. The coup took place 2 days ago. In fact, yesterday in the morning, where their military addressed the nation by telling them that they had taken over power. The president also did a video, and is trending actually, calling on his friends to make noise to help salvage the situation. I don't know, he took social media by storm with regards to how he was saying, make noise, make noise, make noise. Not just that, some videos of him as well trending, where people are saying that looking at him, he hasn't been healthy. Now, let's not forget that this man's family has ruled presidency or ruled Gabon for 53 solid years. His father did about 42 years, where he has done 11 years. And so you ask yourself, one-man job. Anyway, it's time for us to take a quick break. When we come back, our guests will be seated and we'll delve into our topics. To stay.
When it was low, price and says you know, still have to know we must have 80 the drop. I didn't remember service. I know drop on the full drop now.
That is Emmanuel Fachao, a 20-year-old man who has been driving for 2 years. The persistent rise in fuel prices is forcing him to reconsider moving out of the driving business.
I had my phone and I got 2.5. May say 7.5. After a cargo cost, she went to but it's the way to my account and the police station.
The fuel price increases are eating away at his profit. It also affects his concentration on the road too. Emmanuel says constantly witnessing his fuel reduce, as seen from the fuel indicator, distracts him. So he has decided to cover the fuel gauge. To reduce the frequent visits to the filling station, Emmanuel opts for short distance rides. He believes short distance rides are more cost effective than long rides, although he admits the bargains from passengers can be irritating. Emmanuel appears not to be the only one covering the fuel gauge whilst on the road. Some commercial drivers also cover the fuel gauge. But what is the point when the fuel will decrease due to the kilometers covered? Emmanuel explains that he parks his vehicle after a number of rides to check his gauge to avoid completely running out of fuel. In December 2021, when he started driving, petrol was selling at 6 cedis 80 pesos per litre. Now petrol is selling at 13 cedis 50 pesos per litre. This represents a 99% increase in price. Should the fuel prices continue to escalate, Emmanuel fears he'll be squeezed out of business. For now, the 20-year-old is looking at saving enough to start his own business and get off the road. Until then, he'll continue to temporarily cover his fuel gauge to give him some sanity on the road. Emmanuel.
And you're still watching Prime Morning. Like I said earlier, my guest will be seated right after the break. And I don't know, the video that I just watched, very, very eye-opening. I've never seen it, and I'm quite surprised that people do this. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
How are you today?
We are good.
Fine.
Great. Okay, so on the ticket of the NPP this morning is the very own Kwesi Botwe Jr., who has been missing in action for a while. How are you?
Rosalind, I'm very well.
Great, and it's good to finally have you back.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
You were in school, I guess?
Yeah, I was in school.
Okay,
yeah.
so you're done now?
Not yet.
Oh, but you went to write exams? Yeah. Law school?
Yeah, law school.
Okay, fantastic. Everybody wants to be a lawyer. On the ticket of the NDC this morning is a man who eats, reads, breathes economics. I'm talking about Dr. Julius Kweku Carter. He's a social economics and also a political analyst. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm glad you are happy, smiling.
Oh, yes.
I like the blue blues.
The blue. I like that. Now, did you watch the documentary we just aired?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen any taxi driver do that?
Well, with a trend, I think a lot of them are coming out with this kind of pain or suffering. Mm. And they are really expressing it. And we need to do something about it.
But what about you? Do you cover your fuel gauge sometimes? So you don't get depressed at the rate at which it declines?
My sister, even if you put a full tank, it will not go.
Kwesi, what about you?
Okay, so you see, good morning to your viewers. And for those of us who use Churchill, I mean, it's a normal phenomenon for us. I mean, since 2016, drivers have been covering their fuel gauge, so it's nothing new.
Oh, so you've seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it a
past.
couple
Okay.
of times. You know, we sit in Churchill most of the times. We are conversant with this kind of
And then you
things.
like front, man.
You know, right?
Because if you sit at the back, you see
Yeah,
it.
no.
So you sit in front and you try to service more.
Exactly. I think we are the car owners.
I like that. Now, we know that Ghana Water Company actually increased tariffs by 1 Ghana cedis, and yesterday the PRO actually spoke and said that 1 Ghana cedis is going to make a lot of change. People think that the 1 Ghana cedi might be too low, and so they might not be making any significant changes in their company. But they have spoken about the fact that this 1 Ghana cedi goes a long way to make a lot of changes. Let me start off with you, Doc. What your take on it is?
Yeah, before I move on with the discussion, I would like to take the chance to greet former President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, as well as the whole of the NDC party, and also extend the same warm greetings to our dear brothers in the NPP and other political parties. I greet you, Ghana. And I will say that collecting of or increment of utility bills are not new to us, but the gaps that creates the problem, and the due responsibility of each and every appointee or anybody responsible in that position to manage the funds well is what we critically have to look at. Because as an economist, what the figures mean to me is the translation of the figures into real structural development of the country in all the sectors of the economy. Even within the water system sectors, there are subsectors, rural, urban, and all that. So the classification must be clear.
I think what he said that they are taking the 1 Ghana cedi for, he said, we are producing millions of cubic meters of water in a day, and the quantity of chemicals is such that the 1 Ghana cedi will make some significant difference. So
yes,
this is what they are actually, going to push it into.
Yes, for the purposes of changing the hygiene aspect of the
quality
water,
of water.
the water. What I feel and what I understand when we look at it, human being, the whole metabolism of human being is on the formation of water system. Our body system is water. The blood is even water. So if we don't have quality water, then we cannot survive. It's food. Water is food. So scientifically, we must say that it's very clear that Ghana Water Company must step up their bit of system controls to enable us get the best out of it. That's all.
Okay. Kwesi.
Yeah, so good morning to you, Roslyn, once again, and your crew, and to His Excellency President Akufo-Addo and NPP executives across the country. I think yesterday National Council had a meeting with regards to the tie between Honorable Adainimo and the Honorable Boakye Agyarko, and the decision is that there will be a runoff on Saturday.
But not by everybody.
No, just by the National Council members, so just about 100 people. And good morning to all our presidential aspirants. Personally, I don't have a candidate, so we wish everybody well.
Oh, you don't?
No, I don't have a candidate.
Who was your candidate? The person fell out?
No, I have never had a candidate, and I want to be very neutral. I just want to look at how the process will go, and yes, so I'm not for anybody.
That's quite interesting, I must
Probably
say.
when you contest for president, then I'll come and support you.
I don't know if I will.
So, about the water tariff increment, I think it's a bit disturbing, actually, at this time that we find ourselves in. But listening to the PURC, I think they have a justified claim, because their claim is that because of Galamsey, now we need a lot of money to buy a lot of chemicals to process our water at the various pumps. And I think water is life. So 1 cedi can do much, even though we might think 1 cedi is no money, but it might actually do much. And so we are only pleading with the Ghana Water Company that once they are increasing tariffs, we expect a constant supply of water. Recently, it looks as if there is a trend that on every Saturday morning, they cut their water supply. And I think it's very disturbing, because for most workers, it's on Saturdays that they do their washing, their laundry, and all other stuff. So I don't know if it's a deliberate thing they are doing, that now every Saturday morning they'll put off the water and then it comes back on Monday morning. I think it's a disturbing trend, and so we are calling on them to remedy that situation. But I think it's a justified position they have made, and so we need to support them to treat our water fairly for us to avoid any sicknesses and diseases. So I think it's a justified claim.
You think the 1 Ghana cedis is enough?
Yeah, 1 Ghana cedis is a lot of money.
It's a lot.
When you ask the MTTD and those people around, they'll tell you 1 cedi is a lot of money.
Well, they claim that they'll use it, but do you think it can solve the problem that they claim?
Yes, I think they did their own research and they came out with a viable solution that increasing the tariffs with 1 cedi will help them solve the problem. So I don't believe they just woke up to make that decision.
You know, I think that people are of the opinion that, you know, decisions have been made and later there's been a bit of regret. Like, you know, there's been projection. We make this money, we'll be able to use it to solve A, B, C, D. At the end of the day, you come back and say, oh, we did this projection bad. We have to now increase the tariff. And that's why people are like, if you need to increase it now. Why are you going 1 cedi? The next time you come back and say 2 cedi. We use an example of the e-levy where there was a projection of what the e-levy could be used for. Later, we're told that the target was not reached and hence certain changes will have to be made. So Ghanaians want to know, 1 cedi enough?
Yeah. Or
will be slapped with another tariff again?
I know the utility providers have this policy to increase tariffs every quarter.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the quarterly tariff increment, but I'm sure with the reason they've given for this particular 1 cedi increment, I'm sure they will be able to, manage it. Like Doc said, it's about proper utilization of the funds. If you go for the funds to treat the water and later you use the funds to buy a software or something, I think it's not proper. And so we need to look at the proper utilization of the funds, because right now Ghanaians are not happy about paying anything to government, because there is this perception that when they pay their money, the money doesn't go into proper use. But I know Ghana Water will do a good job with that, and we are all entreating them to, everybody uses water. When you put on your tap, the water that comes doesn't have NPP colors or NDC colors. So when it comes to matters of water, I don't see it to be a political matter, because when there is no water, we would all be in trouble. That
is the concern of the people,
right?
That the monies, we won't be told later that, oh, we were projecting to give you this quality of water, but it wasn't enough, so we had to give you a lesser quality. But now we are increasing the tariff again, so we give you a better quality.
Right.
So is the 1 Ghana cedi going to be enough to give us the best of qualities that Ghanaians will say, I paid 1 Ghana cedi increment and I have the best of qualities of water?
I think with what the water company has told us, let's give them the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
Because it's a social contract. We are paying and they are also providing a service. And so let's just give them the benefit of the doubt to hope and pray that we get the best of water.
Okay. We will go to Domenase next. Of course, there's a lot that is also happening in Domenase. And Ghana Water, let me touch a little bit about Ghana Water. Ghana Water Company is saying that they've increased by 1 Ghana cedi. Some people are of the opinion that 1 Ghana cedi is not enough to help us have a clean water. Others are of the opinion that it could be also okay. We know that the head of communications at Ghana Water, Stanley Mate, has actually come out to say that the 1 cedi is more than enough to help us have very, very clean water. Now let's go to Domenase. Now the residents at Domenase are complaining bitterly about an abandoned project. What they are saying is that this project has been abandoned for a year, and so they actually want the government to do something about it, because so far it's claimed 16 lives. They don't want more lives to be claimed. I'll start this conversation with you again, Dr. Julius Kweku-Kata.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Road projects. My host, the actual understanding of road project has not been considered in this country as a network map. When I say network map, I'm talking about linking the road sector to the production sectors of the economy, where we have our agricultural product come in to the urban centers for feeding the masses, and other projects that are needed in those communities as far as our natural resources, which we are heavily endowed with as Ghanaians, will be tapped. Because if the road networks are okay, that means economic and social activities like education, like human capital development and job creation, everything gets opened. And that is what we are concerned with. That is what the NDC looked at, the social provision, socio-economic provision of the economy. And if I see how deplorable some of the roads are, look, I don't sit in Accra just because I enjoy sitting in Accra. There's no part of this country that I don't know. Talk about northern region, Nangpala, talk about Jirapa, talk about Salaga, talk about Yendi, across board. You will realize that one of the things that is not benefiting us is the encouragement of road network in the country. If the road network are done, these people will not be complaining. There are certain places you have to park the car.
Well, it looks like it's been commenced. It's not that it hasn't started at all. It's been commenced. However, there's been an abandonment. That's where the problem is. So what is
causing the stoppage? You see, one thing that I've studied in other parts of the world, like India, for example, if something is started, they finish it day and night. And it cuts across all the countries, the advanced countries or developing countries or whatever. We can do it better than them. The standards and the quality of things that we have to put in place, and the uprightness and patriotism of a citizen who is awarded that contract should not see the contract, or should not see the project as MPP NDC. You are saving the soul of this country.
What about financing? Because then again, we know that we are in some kind of economic crisis, and so probably when we hit the roadblock last year, that's 2021, because this project has been abandoned for a year, that was when probably they decided that let's hold on to funds for that place for now and probably release it later.
Please, we don't start what we cannot do. These are some of the attitudes I think that we have been making. Look, if you promise somebody, you give a promise to somebody that you're going to do this for the person, already you're committing your time, your funds, your everything, every resources that will go into that particular project, like the road. So if the engineers, the architects, whoever has done all these programs and ready to commence should know that my source of funds is strong enough for that project to be implemented, and people must be held accountable for that attitude. Because if we don't do that, the country will still be getting back and forth, and it will be costing us the more to invest into projects.
Right.
Because developing countries, for example, development finance comes into this country in collaboration with government and institutions, private sector and the rest. How will those money be assessed? And the project must be viable for that achievement of that particular interest. And if we don't do that, my dear sister, we are not going to even benefit more from the international market. We're not going to put confidence in the international market. There must be a sure way of ensuring Ghanaians that any project that we are going to start, it is already completed before we start.
Right. Kwesi.
Thank you, Rosalie. I'm a bit surprised when I heard about a story that the residents of Dominase in Ahinoman Kokobeng are complaining over bad roads. Because I thought in 2016, former President John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency, told us that he has fixed almost all the roads in Ghana. And when then candidate Akufo-Addo came out to tell him that there are so many bad roads in Ghana, he told candidate Akufo-Addo that probably he was sleeping. So I am surprised that today we are still hearing about deplorable roads. Because I thought in the Green Book, all these roads were completed. This Dominase road is a dual carriage road in the Green Book actually. So this is a clear expose of the NDC. And Rosalind, it is good we acknowledge the fact that in the 2020 financial statement and economic policy of government, government provided for funds for the roads to be constructed. But I'm aware that there are a few issues with drainage, and that is why the project has been halted. And so all what we can do is to call on the contractor to expedite action on the road, because I think it's a major road. If you look at the road from Ahenema, Konkobeng, I mean, it's a major road that needs to be done. And the concerns of the residents are that the sand and the clay, I mean, when it rains, it's very heartbreaking. And so we are calling on the contractor to expedite action. I mean, NPP or President Akufo-Addo's government has built a lot of roads than any other government, and that is a fact.
Kwesi, I understand you, but you made reference to the NDC here,
Right.
saying that in 2016 they made reference in a green book, right?
Yeah.
That's what you said.
Yeah.
Now let's go back. Why were they voted out of power? So why do we still make reference to their mistakes? Because the Ghanaians voted the NDC out of power because Ghanaians felt that the NDC was not doing something right, even if they showed a green book. Now you have been in power for the close, 7 years, or probably 7 years or more, and counting. You haven't fixed this mess. You are in power. After 7 years, you come and tell us that NDC said A, B, C, D, and you're making reference to NDC?
This is a very good question. And that was why I mentioned to you that in the 2020 financial statement of Ghana, or the budget statement of the government, the road has been allocated to a contractor. Government has allocated funds to the contractor to build that road. So the road is currently under construction. Previously, the road was very terrible.
And the construction, the people are still complaining about it. They are saying that it's been abandoned for a year.
It's
if
not
it's
been
under
abandoned.
construction, they won't come out and say it's been abandoned.
It's not been.
The
The
people
project started in 2021, but I've told you that the challenge on that road is the drainage system. There are no gutters, and so the contractor is trying to connect the gutter through to the main drainage, and then he can continue the road. Because if he constructs the road and there is no drainage and it rains, the road will just wash away. And so that is what the contractor is trying to look at. And Rosalie,
I know nobody constructs road without drainage.
Yes, and you
drainages are very important.
You
so
agree with me that when it comes to drainage, it's a very serious matter. That
you can't construct a road without drainage, so it's part of it.
So that's what the contractor is trying to do, and that is where the delays are coming from. But I'm calling on the contractor to expedite. I know the contractors on site, so before
you know
coming
them?
here, yeah, I spoke to them.
Okay, that's nice.
And they explained to me that the challenge is the drainage system. Because the drainage in that area, there are no proper drainage. So they need to construct the drainage through to the main road, to the main drainage, to ensure that after building the road, they wouldn't, 5 years, 10 years time, the road wouldn't wash away. So I know they'll do a good job. So I'm pleading with the residents. These are no exciting times it's also raining. So I understand the concerns of the residents, but let's give the contractor some little time.
So when will the drainage be constructed?
He told me that by end of year
he would have finished with the drainage.
No, they should start. Right now they are still doing the feasibility studies for the construction of the drainage. So we are in August now.
Okay.
We are almost in September. So by December, later by May next year, it should be done. And I'm sure the residents
later by May next year, drainage would have been done.
Yes.
What about the road?
Oh, the road, it wouldn't take more than 3 months to finish up the road, because the road, they've already started. They've done the first coating. But the challenge is that because there is no drainage, when it rains, the sand on the side of the road washes.
Is it the same contractor that did the first coating?
Yes, exactly. That's the same
contractor.
Yeah, that's the same person.
In Accra here, in front of my house, nobody constructs a road without making drainage. So which contractor made did the road? Use our resources to put quota on the road, and then you come and say that the drainage is bad.
The road into that's why I referenced to you in 2016. The potholes on the road were like manholes. They were very terrible. That nobody could even ply that road. So the first thing the contractor wanted to do was that give the residents some space to breathe. Give them some good roads for the meantime, and then we could look at a long-lasting solution. So what the contractor did was a short-term solution to the problem, but the long-term solution to the problem, you need a drainage, and that's exactly what the contractor is doing now.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is very important.
Right.
But, yes, Julius, please.
You see, my colleague
Kwesi.
Kwesi I disagree with you on the fact that before 2016, you cannot compare the mileage of roads that the NDC government has done. You see, the NPP is prompted all the time to chip in things that they knew very well that they can do. And sometimes I smile. You know why I'm smiling? Because you see, I'm a very astute economist, and I've gone to the ground to find out certain things. If you are doing a rural roads where raining is always the problem, the first thing that you have to do is to go into the drainage and look at the waterways. By then, in the report, in the feasibility studies, the geological position of the whole area has been given to you as a contractor. The waterways are determined. So yours is to construct and connect the drainage system into those valleys. So if he's telling me that the feasibility studies are now going to be done, it's against them. Because I know for the fact that...
But did the NDC construct this road?
It's a part of our road, the road project.
But was it done?
It has not been done at the time.
But was it in your green book?
But it was resurfaced for motorability.
But was it in the green book?
It was in the green book.
That has been done.
There are so many rules in the green book.
Okay.
The green book has covered the whole entire country in terms of road construction.
But the green book is supposed to tell us what you've done. So if in your green book it says that it's been done, obviously Ghanaians will think that, okay,
I don't think what it's saying is right.
Okay, what is the right?
To the perception of my knowledge.
Okay, please, what's the right?
It cannot be right by saying that the green book says that it has been done.
What notes? What says? What does it say?
Those rules, they were rural rules, which needs to be resurfaced and drainage systems are done and the road is constructed.
Okay.
So there are stages. The stage where we said we have resurfaced the road, it's motorable for the citizens to move on it, is what we are talking about at the time.
Motorable?
Yes.
But not done?
Not done.
Okay.
So if we are voted out of power,
yeah,
because we didn't do the right things, and they have come, they've seen that the people are complaining, like the question you have asked. It's prudent for them to do it. It's not benefit, like he said. The road network doesn't benefit NDC alone, benefit all of us. So if your brother has done something, he has resurfaced the road, he has done feasibilities, then you have come, you quickly have to move on it. And that is national development. It is no longer NDC development. So when they try to play the ball out of the box, I disagree with them. Because here we are talking about national development. I am an Anglon person, but I'm more Fanti, I'm more Ashanti, I'm more Muslim or Northerner than you think. Because the intermarriages have caused. So if I'm placed in a position, I shouldn't be looking at it from only a web position. I should be looking at national development, and that is what is going to bridge the gap between the poor and the rich, and that will make inequality disappear completely. So he should take his time.
Kwesi, Julius says take your time.
It's not about me taking my time. It's about the people of Ahinema Kokobeng getting good roads. So just imagine if the NDC had constructed the drainage system and MPP had also...
But you have not done more roads than we do.
No, that
one is on
well, they have actually brought out a record report. But the kind of reports that they brought out says that they've done more roads.
And they've not been able to debunk it, to bring, contradictive facts.
I don't need to debunk what is not debunkable.
So the most important thing is that
I don't need to debunk what is not debunkable.
Probably what the two political parties
If the thing is debunkable, I will debunk it. Because there are certain situations...
I was quite when you had your time, Mr. Julius.
The most important thing is the two political parties. If one party says, I have done A, B, C, D kilometers of road, the second party says, I have done it, you prove it and we are good to go.
Absolutely. And we have brought out a catalogue of all the roads we have constructed. And so if you feel those roads do not exist, you just bring a contrary report to that. And as of now that I speak to you, your party has not brought anything as such. And so to sit here and say that NDC has constructed more roads than NPP cannot be accurate. It cannot. Because what is the record of NDC when it comes to roads? And what is the record of NPP when it comes to roads? Clearly, in the last 3 years, this government has dedicated everything in the public office for roads. And that is why we've had a year of roads in the last 3 years. I mean, you said you travel around the country. Go around the country. Go from the Accra to Kumasi Road. It's been resurfaced. Most of the roads in this country are being done. But Roslyn, the truth of the matter is that no president or no government can tell you that I will build all the roads in Ghana. It is impossible.
But your government said it.
We are not saying we are building all the roads.
But you said year of roads.
Yes, but not necessarily all roads in Ghana.
So what was it supposed to be?
We are trying to do as many roads as we can, but not every single road in Ghana.
But you should have said it from the onset.
No, but in our manifesto,
you said we never said roads. You do all the roads.
No, we didn't say all the roads. We said we were going to do
majority.
Okay.
We
were going to invest in.
I'm happy that you are saying that you are now saying you want.
Mr. Julius,
when they say Mr. Julius, we are talking about.
Mr. Julius, don't be an ordinary NDC communicator. You are an economist, so don't be interjecting. Just let your other young men do that.
You are describing me as an old man. I'm still young.
He's still young.
You see how I'm sweating?
He's a freshman. He's a freshman.
Is he sweating? He's not sweating. My friends have my blood is fresh.
You are fresher
and energetic than him. I got here before he got here.
Yes.
So you shouldn't tell me I'm an old man.
He didn't say that.
I have more physique than he has.
Yes, you do. Kwesi, you're making a point. Please make your point.
So the point I'm trying to make is that you're not an old man, you're a young man actually. You're actually 18 years old. So the point I'm making is that government is doing its best. We cannot fix every road in Ghana, but we'll try as much as possible to fix majority of roads in this country to make convenient, to make it convenient for everybody. And so with the Ahenema Kokobin situation, I am aware that the road even starts from Santase leading to Ahenema Kokobin, and currently contractors are on site. But like I've told you, they need to fix the drainage, and that is what they are doing currently. And so the roads will be fixed. Definitely they will be fixed because it's in the budget statement. Government has allocated for funds for it, and so it will be fixed. Yeah.
Now there's actually an interesting conversation that, I don't know, you said you don't have any special candidates that you're backing, right? But Brian Champon has spoken, a party member of yours has spoken, saying that the other contestants who want to become the flag bearer of the party should just step back and allow Dr. Bawumia to go unopposed to become the flag bearer of the party. And when they do that, they will be rewarded.
Okay, so I would not respond to Honorable Brian Champon. He's a senior member of the party, but I will state.
You will not respond
to what he has said.
Okay, but you.
But I'm just making a general statement, but not in response to what the Honorable Minister said. He has his opinion. Like I've mentioned, he's a senior member of the party. He's a cabinet minister. He has his opinion. I also have my own opinion. NPP is a party that is regulated by a constitution. Let's ask ourselves, is it in the constitution that we should allow somebody to go unopposed when there are other candidates? Clearly it's not. I believe in democracy going to the polls. We should allow that over 200,000 delegates to go to the polls, and they should elect their leader. Any leader who is elected, we will be glad to work with the person. I am not for anybody and I'm not against anybody. I'm for a free and fair process. Let's allow everybody to go through the process freely. And the General Secretary, Lawyer Justin Frimpong-Kodia, has retreated countless times that it's not going to be under his regime that people are going to be manipulated. And I think so far he's lived by his promises. And so let's allow everybody to go through the process. At the end of the day, when Honorable Kennedy Japan wins, we are going to follow him. When His Excellency Bawumia wins, we are going to follow him. When Alan Chairman, anybody that wins, we are all going to rally behind.
Dr. Osei Akoto.
The planting for food and jobs man, planting for food and jobs minister. I actually really admire Akoto because he's the youngest amongst them all, per Mr. Julius's, calculation. So
I was going to wonder. Okay, I like that you cleared it because when you said it, I was like, oh, what's going on?
So we wish everybody well, but it should be free. The NPP is noted for democracy.
But going unopposed doesn't mean it's not a democratic thing.
Going unopposed means that over the 200,000 delegates will not have the opportunity to express their concerns.
He can go alone and then they just endorse him.
No, but elections makes you have a feel of what the grassroots people think.
Okay.
I think it would not be fair to the grassroots or the polling station people if you tell them that we are not going to vote. Somebody should, and nobody would even understand. Do you think Alan Chamato Kennedy Japan will say, I'm sitting back for somebody to go?
No, that's why he said, Brian is saying that they should agree to just step down and allow him to go.
I don't know the basis on which he said that, but I don't think any of the aspirants will agree to go unopposed. Even in the tie between Honorable Adenimu and Boakye Jackson, the national chairman in a press statement said that those two people said they are not willing to back off.
Yeah.
Growing up, I know runoff is between the first and the second, but for the first time, we are seeing runoff between the last and the last.
Adenimu says that he has seen that you become the president, so he's not backing off.
I mean, everybody. We all have dreams.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I close my eyes, the things I see,
He has a
you have no idea. So that's his dream, and I mean he's entitled to it. So they should all go through the process. At the end of the day, anybody that wins, it's all about MPP. This is an internal matter, so I'm not even expecting Mr. Julius to have a bite on it. It's an MPP matter.
No, they'll have a bite on it.
NDC.
No, you had a bite when the NDC went to vote. So
No,
you have a
no,
will have
the
a bite.
NDC system was manipulated for the former president.
Are you?
Yeah, I mean,
Really?
clearly, I didn't say it. It was
But
Dr.
your
Dufour
own
who said it.
political party,
It was Dr. Dufour
your
said
own
it.
political party members. Let me go to Honorable Alan Kojo Chirmati is saying that there are things that are happening and manipulated so that Dr. Bawumia becomes the flag bearer of the party.
I haven't heard of that.
Hobson Adoye spoke about it. He even spoke about the fact that the chief of staff gave some $5,000 to some individuals.
He didn't bring any proof.
No,
He
but
didn't bring any
I'm saying,
proof. But
I said
Dr.
he
Dufour
said.
took the matter to
I said
court,
he
meaning
said.
he had proof.
Wait, I said he said. Don't worry. He said we are here to get to the bottom of it because he's facing disciplinary committee.
Yeah.
Some people, your party members, have spoken about the fact that they think that the system is being manipulated so that Dr. Bawumia becomes a flag bearer. So if you say that, then this should not have a take on your
record. No,
yes.
just for the records. What Hobson said about chief of staff is untrue. The chief of staff.
Well, they've gone to disciplinary committee. They will definitely get to the bottom of it.
Any process for anybody. Even the chief of staff doesn't have any power to manipulate any process. The elections are being conducted by the elections committee of the MPP in conjunction with the Electoral Commission of Ghana and the Ghana Police Service. And so it will be very infantile for anybody to think the chief of staff has power to coerce somebody to vote. Sitting here,
I'm not part of your political party. I didn't say that. This is a member of your political, a senior member of your political
party. Let's treat it as a mere allegation, and I mean,
but you don't think that the NDC one was a mere allegation either?
Because Dr. Dufour took the matter to court. That is the difference here. You don't go to court without evidence. Anyway, NDC goes to court without evidence. But I know Dr. Dufour had evidence with regards to the fact that the elections were being manipulated for a certain. If you look at his statement of claim,
if you know he had evidence, why did he drop out of court?
Probably they had their own agreement.
Really?
Probably, yeah. Probably.
Anyway, Julius, your take.
Yeah, thank you very much once again. I think I would call him a middle-aged man. He has pulled me to give him some background. I've been in this game since 1992, even before 1992, okay? And if he tells me that, and because the way NPP party internal elections are happening, I should not talk about it, then I would gently tell him that they should hand over power now to us because they is the ultimate.
Why?
Because if I'm not having any issue on their internal elections, which is my contestant or my opponent, and you feel that I shouldn't talk about it, then they should hand over to us, because that will be the prudent way, because there is Pareto deficiency in the whole economic structure of this country. And if you put sector by sector, they have a lot of deficiency. And when I say Pareto deficiency, I'm talking about inability to make the production of the sectors both social, economic, industry, because they had given us the gist that when they come to power, they are going to move from taxation to production. And based on their philosophical background they are coming from, I shouldn't talk about their political dichotomy.
You can go ahead and talk about it. Don't worry.
So now, he should know that what Brian is saying, he has taken an astute position to support Bawumia and wish that if he says this, he will learn a lot of people to win favor for Bawumia. He has his own interest for doing that, which I don't know. But by and large, I feel that America, they go for special election. The Republicans, especially, they go for special, let's say, delegate Congress. But this particular strategy is questionable.
Why is it questionable?
It's questionable because when the numbers are huge, like you have 10 candidates, give them the opportunity to the masses to choose. Who are the delegates of the party?
But they are giving them 5 to choose.
Please. This is special voting. And the cluster of people who are going to the voting, that's already their government machinery. That's more. They carry 2/3 of the whole thing, the whole process. So it's. Are you going to be against the vice president? Is that what you want to tell me?
But your voting is supposed to be secret.
It's secret.
Yeah. So
but if you look at the forensic nature of how the special candidates are, you could clearly see that the 2/3 of them are going to vote for the vice.
Maybe they like him.
Maybe
they've experienced how he works.
That one I leave it to them. I leave it to them. But my interest is that we can talk about their internal elections. When the NDC was doing the election, they also talk about our internal elections. And it happens everywhere. In democratization, it happens. There must be dynamics where the opposition will talk about it. So briefly, that is what I want to tell you. That Brian has an interest, and we also have an interest because if we don't get good contenders, we can contend. We want to compete with them, with the leading flag bearership of Mahama to lead.
Who will be the best person that you want to compete with?
They should come out with it. They know who is best for them. Because if he doesn't...
For the NDC, what do you think?
We are not taking about every candidate that comes. We are going to beat the person hands down.
Kwesi, you wanted to make a point?
Yeah, the point I wanted to make is that any of the 5 candidates that emerges as the winner, one thing that I am certain about is that that candidate is going to beat His Excellency former President John Dramani Mahama. Because we are going to campaign based on the track records in your dreams. That was the same thing you people were saying in 2020.
I said Tofia.
That's the same thing you said in 2020, so it's not new. And we are going to beat His Excellency. We know the strategy to beat John Mahama. We have beat him before, and we will beat him again.
Let me ask you, Kwesi. Is elections about strategy, or it's about what you've given to the people?
Every election is about strategy and about your track record. And so we are going to compare the track record of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama between all the NDC,
and that's
between 2009 to 2016, and the track record of His Excellency President Akufo-Addo between 2016 to 2024. That is what is going to be the bone of contention. And we all know the track records of the 2 political parties. NDC is noted for corruption. NPP, when you come to NPP, they are only isolated cases of allegations.
And you see, with what you say, when you say one particular political party is noted for corruption, you say yours is allegation. And people out there on social media, you are on social media because you are 25, just like I'm 25 years, you know, who say that the president is the clearing agent, so anything that comes, he clears it. And so that is why yours will become an allegation. But for the NDC, they own to their wrongs, but you don't.
Rosalie, it may interest you to know that since we had our 4th Republic, no NPP appointee has been convicted for corruption. And that is on record.
And that's what the people are saying. That
no,
clearing,
you remember in 2007, we had NDC printing out bank statements of government officials of President Kufuor telling Ghanaians that these people have stolen monies into Prudential Bank and all those things. When they came to power from 2008 to 2016, they couldn't even convict one person. But in NPP, anytime we come to power, we convict people.
Who have you convicted?
In 2018, we convicted the former NCA Director General. Eugene Bafuboni, Matthew Teve, the board chairman, the former Deputy National Security Coordinator appointed by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who happens to be one of the close aides of John Dramani Mahama. We have convicted Daniel Duku, Venture Capital. Currently, Maslock is under Sedinam Temaklo is in court facing
trial. Is it not the same NDC that we had may his soul rest in peace, the late Tamil say that whatever has happened in the NDC, they should pardon them and let them go so that they don't convict them?
Who should pardon? They should pardon the NPP.
Yes, those who had been brought to book, they should be pardoned.
Why should they be pardoned? If you have evidence,
that's what you know. The late president said.
No, but what he said with
could that not probably be the reason why nobody was convicted under the NPP?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so, because if you have credible evidence against somebody that somebody has stolen state funds, the money belongs to everybody. It belongs to Roselyn, belongs to everybody. And so if one person has
a presidential decider to say that I think that these people should be pardoned, and let's treat them, you know, with some kind of respect. Let's allow it to go so that it doesn't happen again. You can pardon in court, even judges pardon.
Yeah, I agree. But is it in the interest of the nation? Everything the president does, he's doing it in the interest of the nation. Let's ask ourselves, to pardon corrupt officials is in the interest of the nation. If you have evidence that somebody has stolen money, like we had evidence that under John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency the former president, officials of the NC are stealing money, and then you say we should pardon them.
Stolen for what?
They told us they were going to purchase a listening device for the National Communications Authority, so in case anybody is planning a coup or something because of their insecurities. The listening devices never came, worth $4 million. They went to court, they were asked, where is the $4 million? Omachedi. Where is the listening devices? It never arrived. And also to assume. So currently they are still at Insawam. Currently, I think just about 3 weeks ago, the former Deputy National Security Coordinator was even pardoned by His Excellency President Akufo-Addo to be brought home on grounds of ill health.
Some people out there will say that, you know, there was a video that came out where Ghanaians saw an NPP man, you know, under corrupt nature taking some monies, Charles Bisu. But as of now, what has happened? And he's been cleared. You know, much has not been said. Again, we've seen the report of, the COVID reports from what's the name? God help me, Auditor General, and still nothing has been done about it. And when you see these reports, and when you are very smart and you read it, you realize that, of course, there's some nature of corruption in there, but nothing is being said about it. And that is why some people are of the opinion that there's some clearing going on, because there's not owning up to anything with regards to corruption.
I agree with you, Roselyn. You know, it's very easy to make an allegation against somebody that the person is a criminal, the person is a corrupt official, but they will take evidence for you to prove that.
No, so those reports from the Auditor General is not evidential enough?
No, when you take the Auditor General's report and you critically look at it, you realize that there's a very big lacuna in the report, because the report will tell you that these monies have been, let's say, they cannot be traced or they cannot be whatever. Let me give you a classical example. We are Joy Prime now. Roselyn, you are giving maybe 1,000 cedis to buy a camera. And when you came to work in the morning, you realized there was no prepaid, there was no power. And you use the money to buy power. At least you have an old camera you could manage. The Auditor General, when he comes, he will tell you the 1,000 cedis could not be traced. But meanwhile, you've not spent the money. So the Auditor General must make us understand that, okay, so these monies have been misappropriated, these monies have been embezzled, these monies cannot be traced, these monies cannot be reconciled. And then we will know that these monies have actually been stolen by government official A or B. But that is not what the Auditor General is doing. They put everything together in a lump sum and tell you that these monies could not be found, which I think is very inappropriate.
Really?
And that is why anytime they go to the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament, you realize that they end up, you know, making a failed case.
You are a law student. If you should give me money to purchase a car, and I end up purchasing a bicycle, I should be able to give you reasons. And if you come out to say that, oh, you used it to purchase a bicycle, and I tell you that, oh yeah, I used it to purchase a bicycle, obviously I didn't do what the right thing is supposed to be done. So yes, the monies were given to be used for certain things. The monies were not used for that. And is that some sort of...
That is what I'm telling you. That.
You know,
that is what I'm telling you. That doesn't entirely amount to embezzlement. But that is misappropriation.
Misappropriation.
Yes.
So where's the money?
Justify... No, misappropriation doesn't mean that the monies have been wasted. So let's say, critically with the COVID report, you realize that there are some monies that were supposed to be used for, let's say, nose masks. But at that particular given time, hand sanitizers were a necessity. And there were no hand sanitizers.
Nose mask was not a necessity?
Probably they were in nose masks in abundance.
Well, let me go and take some comments coming in, though. Some messages coming in. I'll quickly read some of them, and I'll come to Julius for his comments as well. The government of the day has lost its credibility with respect to economic management. Governance is about honesty and truthfulness. The NPP government, however, fancy blatantly lying to the good people of Ghana. They promise to transform our economy from taxation to production. Unfortunately, all we see today is a free fall of cedi, needless borrowing, galloping inflation, and draconian taxes are being imposed on the ordinary Ghanaian. Worst of it is the incessant increase in tariffs without any commensurate salary increments. These people have failed big time. Daniel Akpaliok from Sandema. Thank you, Daniel, for sending your message. Aaron Bebako Kokomisa says, good morning to you. The problem of Africa is the leadership. We have a serious leadership crisis in Africa. Just look at the list of military coups in Africa since 2020. Very weird. And how political power can corrupt politicians and military officials that take over the political seats with the gun. I think the problem is attitudinal, which has to do with selfishness. My point is that Africa will not see or experience any lasting developmental projects if we still have strong ties with foreign powers, or if foreign influence neglects to join forces or economic ideas with her own African countries to see Africa develop in every area. No foreign power or colonial power is ready to see her subjects match up to them with terms of economic growth. Hashtag Africa, let's wake up, but not noise. Okay. Thank you, Aaron, for sending a message. Please tell Kwesi Botwe that he's too young to learn to defend the indefensible. The damage is already done. Ghanaians are now discerning. Enchi Elubo Road, abandoned close to 1.5 years now. Who told you that a road is constructed before drainage is done? What a government. Jerry Blee. All right, Jerry, thank you. NDC constructed more roads in the air from Ajenim Boateng, Domipila too. Thank you, Ajenim Boateng.
I agree.
Good morning. This is my first to join your conversation. You are a very good host. Thank you so much. 7 years down the line, MPP still blaming NDC. Why? Stop talking and do better things for us. Please come and see the road from Aguna Swedo to Achim Akroso in Eastern Region. You will weep. Anyway, you didn't send your name, but thank you for sending your message. You at home can also send in your message. Join the conversation. You can send it to WhatsApp line, which is on the screen, or you can send it on Facebook, which you're streaming live as Joy Prime. Julius, you wanted to make a point.
Yes, thank you once again. Kwesi is trying to, to let me know that they've done so well during this period, reducing corruption. They're being placed 72 by the UN index. I tell you, 60.8 billion Ghana cedis is missing in Bank of Ghana.
Is it missing?
It's not missing, but it was
Is it missing? Please, you're an economist.
Please.
Kwesi, I'll do the questions here.
Okay.
Thank you.
I know you do justice to the questions.
You know that,
So he should just take his time.
Please, go ahead.
Whether it's missing or it's not accountable for, that's it.
Okay.
And he's telling me that it's been done, they are done with corruption, they have jailed people, both NDC and their party members. It is not true. I disagree with him. Because if I am in power and one of my appointees has done something, or two of them has done something, and the world is watching, and I put the person before court and the person is jailed, in the case of Abuga Pele and the rest, are you telling me that you have done better than us? No. Now, two, I believe that the $1 million that Cecilia Dapa has been worked against, or she was found in her house, is something clear that corruption is going on. So I will not like blame game. What is important for us to do is to make sure as a country we discipline our managerial skills. The reason why I'm saying that is that if we don't discipline our managerial skills, fiscal discipline. The things that we are hearing, the things that we are saying, is saddening the heart of the citizenry.
Which of the things?
For instance, do you know that in good governance, if you even mention in your manifesto and you promise your state that you're going to build one district, one factory, and that is not on the footing that is expected of you, do you know that is an abuse?
But some of them have done, some have happened. Let's even look at just yesterday. We saw Electrochem, which is employing 3,000 workers. It's also part of the one district, one factory, isn't it?
I will go there, and anytime you call me back on this program, I'll give you the vis-a-vis.
What are you going to look for?
I'm going to look for the economic systems to be put in place.
Okay.
The system is simple. The firm, the individuals, citizens who are employed, the benefit they have to with their tax, their income tax they have to take from them. I'll look at the structures. That's the structure of the economy and what government gets, what government will give out from that particular project.
Okay.
And I'll take it project by project. So when I talk about the economic system,
so but we still agree that the one district, one factory is ongoing. There are things that are being done.
I don't agree.
You don't agree?
Because
but you're seeing this happen just yesterday.
Me, I've just heard about it yesterday. So I'm going to do due diligence.
But it's still one district, one factory, isn't it?
No.
It's what?
I said I want to see it.
No, but seeing it doesn't mean it doesn't.
Let me tell you, the reason why
yes.
I'm saying this is that just quite recently, there is a hotel they are building, a company is building, and it has been given tax waiver of almost 4-point-something million
yes.
Ghana cedis. Actually, the property, if it is one district, one factory considered under the program, and that the person is given waiver, it shouldn't be in East Legon. It's misplaced conditions.
Where should it be?
It shouldn't be in East Legon. You understand me?
Oh, but where should it be?
So the description you have given is one district, one factory. You know, it is not one metropolitan factory.
Your point here is that it's the fact that it's in East Legon, the tax waiver is where the issue is, because now it's recognized under one district, one factory.
Yes.
Is that what it is? But how is hotel a factory?
No, what I mean is that that's a facility they are building.
Yeah.
If you just put that with a factory, listen, he said one district, one factory. Are you getting my point? Here is the case. You are building a hotel and you've given tax waiver to that hotel. It's not in the district. The disparity is what I'm talking about.
So what is the hotel recognized under the factories?
That's what I'm reading, and that's the information I'm getting.
So your information is that the hotel, you are saying there is a tax waiver because of what? Which is it?
I'm saying that under the one district, one factory, factories that are built under one district, one factory will enjoy some tax waivers.
Okay.
You understand? That's the norm.
But it's not just them that enjoy tax waivers, right?
Coming.
Okay.
You see, the terminology coin or the acronym coin for that particular program is one district, one factory, correct? And they have to go under the tax waiving. The tax waiving, it depends on the degree of concern they put in place, isn't it? I don't mean that other companies shouldn't have a tax waiver. If that is the case, then it should stand alone.
No, my point is, has this hotel been registered under the one district, one factory?
That is what I'm telling you, that it has been designed and registered under one district, one factory.
What's the name of the hotel? Do you have any idea?
Maxstar Hotel or something.
Maxstar?
Yes.
Okay.
Maxstar.
We'll get to the bottom of it and find out if it's true that there's any hotel out there that is being built and it has close to what?
It has about 160 rooms and it's given waiver of 4 something for thereabout.
Okay. We'll get to the bottom of it and we'll bring you the accurate.
And that even with the movement, that movement even is a corruptible movement.
We'll get to the bottom of it.
Yes.
We can't just get up and accept it. So we have to get to the bottom of it. Yes, please. And then we'll quickly move to Gabon.
Good. About the BOG issue. Mr. Julius mentioned that the monies have been missing. It is not true that monies at BOG have gone missing. In fact, this revelation came to light as a result of a report by the BOG itself. So it was the BOG itself.
Money is not missing, but loss.
No money.
Loss,
yes.
Loss.
There's been a loss,
yes.
And everybody,
Why
please. There is a difference between loss and missing.
Right.
Please.
I agree with you.
If young people are watching, let's not mix the two.
I agree with you. There is a difference between the loss and missing.
The monies have been accounted for, but I mean, there's been a loss.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the point.
So there's been a loss.
So BOG has not stolen any money.
Okay, that's fine. Let's go to Gabon.
No, before we go to Gabon.
No, sir, are you the one conducting it? You're telling me no.
Give me some few minutes, I beg you, with your indulgence. Mr. Julius also mentioned that if governments fail to uphold their policies, then it's an abuse of government. Roslyn, you remember in 2030 when we had the Hope City project, when they brought Chris Brown to Ghana, I'm sure Asidu should tell us on News Flash. When they brought Chris Brown to Ghana and paid him $1 million.
This is News Flash segment.
Sorry, the entertainment segment. Trading. Told us that they were going to build Hope City. And they brought in Chris Brown and paid him $1 million. I remember those times, most of the artists were even complaining about the money was. Where is the Hope City? Mr. Julius should show me where Hope City is.
We move on to Gabon.
Where is Hope City?
Have a conversation about Gabon. We know that there's been a coup d'etat in Gabon, and that is the latest place with regards to coup. Niger also had some coup where we heard the ECOWAS saying that they were in conversation with the leader of the coup, that's General Chiani. Now in Gabon, another coup has happened. Yesterday, the president of Gabon actually did come out and say that his friends and family should make noise and let the world hear about it. He's actually locked up in his home. His wife has been taken away. His son has been taken away. He doesn't know where they are. He doesn't know what is happening in Gabon. And the leader, that is the leader of the coup group, the military group, has also addressed the state, saying that they have taken over power. Now, the surprising part is the people, that is the Gabonese, are very excited about it. Some are taking, selfies with these soldiers, and you'll be wondering why. Now let's go back. This man, that is Ali Bongo, and his family have ruled Gabon for 53 years. His father did 42 years, and he has done 11 years. He was re-elected back into power on Sunday, and that is when the military took charge of the country. Let me come to you, Julie. What's your take on it?
Yeah, thank you very much. The whole of Africa, I will say that we should start being serious. We should start being disciplined. We should start seeing ourselves beyond this kind of thing. Coup is not a good thing. I was on the voluntary repatriation of the refugees in 1992-93 when the Togo issue happened. I've always been saying that I have a maternal home in Aflao. What happens? You will not know. By the time you realize the whole house is full, they won't ask you anything. So coup is not the best. And I will say that if you rule for a certain term, what is the problem with us? Not to accept ourselves and say that the people are saying we don't want you any longer. Just give way.
About when they voted for him.
Excuse me, I'm saying that they voted for him, but there was something wrong.
Okay, let me actually go on the line and speak with David Agbe. He is the Executive Director for Ghana Institute of Governance and Security, and he's here to help us with this particular conversation. Good morning, David. David, if you can hear me, kindly say hello.
I can hear you.
Fantastic. How are you today?
Hello?
Hello, David. How are you? Hello, David. Okay, I think we are having a little bit of challenges with regards to the network. We'll try and fix it and come back to you, David, and have a conversation. So, Julius, you were making your point. Sorry, I have to...
Yes.
Please forgive me.
But I please beg you, Kwesi is trying to reduce my my title, so he should call me that.
Kwesi, don't.
What have I done here?
Kwesi,
And
don't.
Kwesi should know that
Senior economist.
very soon I'm going to be teaching him.
Are you the future finance minister?
Maybe.
I like that.
Of whose government?
And he should know that
Of
the
whose
law
government?
fraternity, I'm going to be senior to him.
You'll
so
be
he
senior.
should-
Senior economist.
Fantastic. Please go ahead and make your point.
See, I like you, but don't be changing
I like
your
you too.
position.
I like you too.
You know what?
You're a fine economist, actually. We need
For the
people like
purpose
you
of
and Dufo in the
international
NDC.
diplomacy, I will not say that I'm not in Gabon to say vividly why the military did this, but it cut across the francophone countries. Moi, je parlais français un peu. So if they communicate in their French language, I hear some of them.
Right.
You see, what we are not doing to help our own people is just because we don't want to go by the rules, the principles of governance.
Power is sweet.
Ade a we de kra de wudu wi sana akoye bibi kwapo a one day you will leave it. Just look nearby and look at that old man walking down to you. When he was young, he used to be active. I'm surprised that the president was sick, having stroke, yet he has been paraded to shake hands with dignitaries. What is the problem?
Power is sweet.
We shouldn't be power drunk in Africa to the extent that we should forget about what we innovatively have to do for the citizens of these countries to benefit. The systems must work. The structures must work. When I leave today, my future plan is that be an economist and a lawyer. I set up a system. People are working when they are coming up. When I see young people driving, it entices me. It makes me happy. So it depends on how you are being disciplined. I cannot be in position for so many years. I can't. I'm tired. Even this one I'm doing, I've told you.
You can't be in position for so many years?
No, for what?
Really?
And I'm old, for what?
But you like
I want to be that papa.
But you like your credentials, don't you?
No, I like
You
my
enjoy
credentials.
it.
That one, I sweat for it.
I like that. But they also say this.
Look, don't take it away from me.
Okay.
I sweat for it.
I like
I
that.
struggle for it. So I have to protect it.
I like that. Let me go on the
But
line.
I have to impart it also.
Okay. I think David is ready to have a conversation. Hello, David.
Yes, I can hear you. Good
Fantastic. Good morning. Finally, we can have you speak on these recent hikes in coup in Africa. The latest one is Gabon, and people are actually very scared of, this. What is the implications of this on the sub-Saharan regions as well?
I could hear some.
You can't hear me?
Repeat the question because there were some noise in the studio, so I couldn't get the question well.
Okay, so I'm talking about the implications of the recent hikes in coups. In Africa, currently, almost all the countries are scared. Let me take us to Rwanda, where Kigali has actually had to make some changes. Sorry, did I say Kigali? My God.
Cameroon.
Forgive me. Well, he's had to make some changes with regards to the military heads there. Of course, Cameroon is also making some changes as well. They all are scared. And of course, some African countries are also scared about it. What are the implications of these recent hikes in Africa?
Yes, terrorism is not an African baby. All over the world, in all parts of the regions of the world, including the United States of America. Every region of the world is afraid of terrorism. And that is a disease of the world now.
No, I'm talking about coup. David, I'm talking about coup. David, I am talking about coup. I'm not talking about terrorism.
Oh, I thought that you mentioned terrorism.
No, I'm talking about coup. The recent coups, of course, we've seen it in Burkina, we've seen it in Mali, we've seen it in Niger. Now the newest baby is Gabon. And we're talking about the implications of it on other African countries.
I mean, in the 90s, in the 60s, there were a lot of coups in the African continent because we didn't understand what democracy was all about. And so there were a lot of, incursions to overthrow all kinds of government then. But it got to a point in time, it looked as if we were trying to understand what democracy was all about. But where we've got to now, there is a decrease or, increasingly, a decline of democracy in Africa, because the leaders that we elect them to ensure that they govern various countries in Africa do not really understand what democracy is all about. And they are using democracy as a tool to rob various nations. And so ordinary citizens have realized that the political elite are using the ideology of democracy to rob, various countries, their resources, and more to the point, to their benefit. So ordinary citizens are not benefiting from what we call democratic, credentials, democratic values, democratic norms, which ensures that government needs to be transparent. Government needs to ensure that the well-being of the people are being taken care of. They are not using money, they are not using resources to enhance the image of various countries. So ordinary citizens have realized that this is what politicians are doing, and the only method of which they can rescue themselves is to use unorthodox means to overthrow those governments. And those are the things that we are seeing. We are seeing that ordinary citizens are becoming more aware that politicians are using democracy only to milk the state. And so when ordinary citizens becomes aware, coup will emerge, and then they will overthrow various kinds of government. As we just mentioned, within a space of 3 years, we've seen successful coups. Successful coups meaning that it is bloodless. They've not been able to kill masses that we used to, be in those days where ordinary citizens become victims of, coup d'etat. Now you are just there. The military, what we call the presidential guard, use all kinds of methods, and they lock presidents and tell you that you will not go out today.
Right.
From today onwards, you are not a president of the country. So they are using strategic methods of locking presidents such that they do not have the free will to operate anymore. And so we are seeing that paradigm happening in Africa now, and it is making all kinds of presidents of Africa, afraid of their legitimacy of controlling countries.
Okay.
And so you could say that, coup d'etat has some consequences, but as we've seen now, it is having consequences on presidents, not individuals, not ordinary citizens who normally suffer from the consequences of coup. But now it is all about the political elite who are misgoverning various countries. And so it is a good signal for all of us to caution various presidents and political elites that if you do not govern properly, ordinary citizens will find a way of overthrowing your government.
Okay, so yesterday Kwesi Pratt spoke and he said he's not too surprised about the fact that it's happened. He says that he's expecting 4 other coups to happen in 4 other countries. Are you in agreement with this?
Did you ask whether I'm happy about it?
Are you in agreement? Do you think that what he said is in the right? Do you agree that there could be 4 other countries that will be under coup? Before the year ends, actually, that's what he said.
I didn't understand your question properly. Look at it, there's undertone over the studio, which is making me not to hear.
So you're struggling to hear. Is it better? Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's better.
So I'm saying that Kwesi Pratt actually spoke yesterday saying that he is not surprised about the hike in coup and that he's expecting 4 other coups to take place in 4 countries before the year ends. Do you agree with this take of his?
It could be more.
Right.
It could be more, because as we speak now, there are a lot of troubles happening in some countries that I do not want to mention. But I can tell you, Cameroon should be careful. I can say that Senegal should be careful. I can say that there are other countries which, I mean, things are not doing very well over there. There is a high-speed level of corruption happening in that country, that the citizens are so timid that they are not taking action, but other agencies are watching that country carefully. So there could be more coups happening in African countries, because, I mean, various presidents are governing in those countries. And so ordinary citizens need to pay attention to the happening in the sub-region, such that we can actually control it. It got to a point in time in Ghana and other places, we thought that there has been a political settlement of all foods. But the emergence of high level of corruption, we need to be careful. If we are not careful, we are equally likely to experience those, trouble. And so West Africa sub-region and other parts of the world, especially in Africa, we need to pay attention to the happenings of food which are emerging. I cannot say much now, but I would say that we need to be careful, because ordinary citizens are becoming aware the level at which the politicians are just milking the state. They are taking advantage of democracy to ensure that they profit from democracy where ordinary citizens suffer. And so we need to be very careful. But I will not mention other countries. We are all aware of the level of corruption happening in various countries now. And so to be able to fight, issues about coup, we need to really internalize, and we need to really consolidate democracy where government functions properly to the advantage of ordinary citizens, but not only the political elite.
Right. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, David. We are super grateful.
Good.
I had a conversation with David Agbe, who is actually the Executive Director for Ghana Institute of Governance and Security. And he's saying that there could be more. Kwesi Pratt said that he's expecting 4 more, but David Agbe says it could be more than 4. And he has cautioned Senegal, he's cautioned Cameroon as well. Now, like I said earlier, Cameroon has actually changed their high-ranking military force. And of course, Rwanda has done same. Kagame has actually made those changes. So they are being very careful. But, sometimes the coup doesn't even come from the high-ranking members. It could come from the low-ranking members, because coup, it has nothing to do with it. But the warning has been sound, and we hope that these presidents will adhere to it. Kwesi.
Yeah, I think it's a sad situation. In the sub-region, waking up every day to a new coup. It's like that's the new order. It's a worrying situation. Coups cannot be celebrated in any way. It's something we shouldn't encourage, irrespective of the situation. And so we only plead with the military and all other stakeholders that let's embrace democracy. If there are challenges, let's try to embrace dialogue and, try to settle our differences. But overthrowing a constitution is not the right way to go. It shouldn't be celebrated. Today, if there's a coup in Ghana, you find people jubilating on the streets, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a celebrated act. We shouldn't, because if you look at our history, coups have been one of the incidents that has retrogressed, the progress of this nation, and so we shouldn't be celebrating coups. I think what's happening in the sub-region, I realized that it has to usually do with the francophone countries, but I don't think Ghana is ripe for coup or anything. Ghana, we are in a comfortable space, and I don't think that we need a coup at this time. And let me use this opportunity to commend the BOG especially for helping us to curb the situation. So you remember during the lockdown and when everybody was at home, the BOG had to raise money to pay our military personnel, our police service personnel, our prisons, in fact, our security agencies. And I think this singular act is an act that needs to be commended, because just imagine in a space of 6 months, we don't pay our military people. We'll wake up and enjoy Prime here. All your crew people will not be here. Military people will be standing behind the cameras and they'll be addressing the nation. And so I think that the BOG has done well with that, and coups shouldn't be celebrated. We shouldn't tolerate coups. When you have a problem,
what has
please
that got to
go
do
through.
Wait, what has the coup got to do with what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that just imagine BOG didn't pay the military personnel for a period of 6 months. What would have happened in this
would they
country?
not pay? What's the reason?
Because we were in a lockdown.
And
nobody was working.
And
there were revenue shortfalls.
But we are still paying.
As in the military people.
Are we not paying for the monies that we used to pay the workers?
No, I'm saying
are we not paying for the levy?
I'm saying that during the lockdown, when we were all at home, tax revenues were, shut down. Everything was on the low. Nothing was really happening because we were all home. And at that time, government wasn't generating any revenue. For about 6 months, no revenue was coming to government. So BOG has to finance government to pay essentially the salaries of public sector workers, especially our security agencies. And I think that singular act is a good step that was taken by the BOG governor. That's all what I'm saying. So I think coups shouldn't be celebrated. We shouldn't be happy about coups, irrespective of. Rawlings himself has said that he didn't appreciate most of the coups that happened. So let's embrace democracy. We have a fine constitution. I agree there are a few lapses.
I don't think coup will happen in Ghana though.
No, absolutely.
I don't think.
Rosalie, I don't think.
No, it won't happen.
Over the weekend, I was at Charlotte. I heard you promoting Charlotte, so I decided to pass through on Saturday evening. I was surprised. The number of people I saw around 12 a.m. It's like, Ghana is a beautiful country. It's a sweet country.
Yeah, we won't.
It's a sweet country. So
we just hope to have a free and fair election.
It's a sweet country. So people like Mr. Julius still want to remain young, so they could enjoy the system.
He's young.
Yeah, he's young. He's enjoying the system.
Anyway, AG has slapped Namuan with 39 charges, and we know Namuan has been the talk of town for probably the last 7 years. Everybody talks about him. He's been to court. He's come out of court. He's been told to pay monies. He comes back telling people to pay 650 Ghana cedis to get access to their money. He comes back and retracts and says don't pay it again, but he's going to follow a certain procedure. He says he's paid a certain number of people their monies. AG says, hey, stop it. Criminal charges, 39 count. It's not even 1, 2, 3. It's 39, and it's actually very valid because when you ask yourself, the things that are being said, of course, very, very true. Now we are being joined on the line this morning so we can have a very good conversation with regards Zoom. Actually, joined on Zoom this morning, Bernard Osei Tutu Jr., who is an investment analyst. Good morning, Bernard. Hello, Bernard. Bernard, kindly unmute yourself this morning, please, if you can hear me.
Good morning, Rosalie.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. And how are you doing too?
Fine, thank you. Now, yesterday we were all surprised when, AG, that is the Accountant General actually has, Attorney General has actually come out and charged Namuan. People are excited. I think I'm one of the few who are excited about it. 39 count though, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 39. That's quite a number, I must say, and people are a bit surprised. But why do you think the Attorney General had to come out to do this for the people?
Thank you and good morning, and another very good morning to your cherished viewers this morning. I think it's extremely important for all of us to know that we don't live in a jungle in the first place. And for me, for the sake of posterity, certain actions must be taken to those who fought against the law. And there has been a lot of call against Namuan and his activities. And I think it is time that Attorney General take the necessary steps to make sure that Namuan is brought to order. And we won't pronounce him guilty before he goes to court. Obviously, that will be judicial, but we believe that he must be placed at a court so that he goes through all the procedure that he needs to go through, so that when he's found guilty, then he faces the consequences thereof. But we can't have a situation whereby a lot of people have lost their lives, situations whereby people have lost their livelihood, and a whole lot of issues that emanated from 2016 to 2018 during the time of men's gold crisis, and no action is taken. We have situation that are ongoing with the likes of what we call the CEO of Bridge Capital and the likes of what we call it, the CEO of Capital Bank, Atu Esen and the rest. These are guys or corporate leaders who had their entities duly licensed and regulated. But because they had issues and certain breaches against their operations, the law took charge of them and they are in court and they are facing the consequences thereof. Atu Esen, as we all know, has been asked to even refund some amount of money back to the state. And for me, that is extremely important. So to answer your question, I think it's quite too late, but it's never too late when that we still have what you call the Attorney General coming in with new fresh charges, about 39 charges against him. And I think it is extremely important that certain actions must be taken, so that for the sake of posterity, nobody will serve again in 3-4 years' time and also decide to set up an entity to take people's money and doesn't go through the requisite process of acquiring a basic license and also subjecting him or herself to the regulatory regime. So I think it's extremely important that we take this case quite very serious.
It's very serious, I must say, but what are the implications as the Attorney General has stepped in?
Obviously, the implication is to clear the doubts you and I have in our mind, whether indeed what Naman did was an illegality. And if it was indeed an illegality, then he has to face the consequences. I want to believe that all what Men's Gold customers are looking forward to see is that Naman faces the law. And like you already said, these are about 39 charges, and whether all these 39 charges leveled against him can be proven in court, the court of competent jurisdiction, and if he's found guilty, then he must be made to face the consequences thereof. I think that will bring a bit of a closure, not a total closure to most of them, because for most of these customers, the most important thing for them is to get back their money. But if they don't get their money back and they later on found that the law has taken its rightful position and Laman, one way or the other, found himself in jail, I'm sure they will have a bit of a closure.
Let me ask you this, and this is the question that everybody at home is asking. Now, Men's Gold was shut because we were told that it was operating under illegal means. Now, we wait, 7 years or probably 6 years, and then again, there is another. Now the Attorney General is stepping in to say you were operating under illegal means. You were shut in the first place because of illegal means. And now we are being told again that, let me go to count one. Count one says, selling gold contrary to section 991 of the Minerals and Mining Act, that is 2006 Act 703. That's what is being said. We know when in 2017, he received certain letters that he should shut Men's Gold because he didn't have the license to operate. Now, I mean, 7 years down the line, so many lives have been lost. People cannot live the way they are supposed to live. Their finances, their money, their investment, everything is lost. It's now the Attorney General is stepping in.
Very, very, very interesting submission you submit, and like you already said, this is the same thing on the mind of a lot of people. Why now? And I want to believe this is coming from one recent activity of trying to bring Payboy as another means to, for want of a better expression, let me be charitable, not maybe to collect people's money again. I don't want to use the word do. But again, to collect people's money again. And I felt there were a lot of public outcry from that statement that Naman issued that customers are supposed to pay another money to Payboy to enable them get their money back. I think that's, for me, that was the icing on the cake that got a lot of people furious that, guy, wait a minute, we've already taking a lot of people through all of these, difficulties in this period of time. Like, really, so over 7 years, the case somehow is not running as we want it to be in court. And now you have the audacity to come back again, thinking that after 7 years, Ghanaians, like we always say, that we forget so easily. So you come in with another means to take money from the same people that you did 7 years ago. And I think it's absolutely unfair. And I want to believe that the likes of you, the likes of other media houses kind of came out to speak boldly against Payboy activities. And I want to believe it is out of that the Attorney General had to wake up, because there was a lot of call to the office of the Attorney General to wake up and do what is expected of him. And I want to believe that it is out of this call that the Attorney General has risen up to do this. But for me, for the most importantly in all of this is the fact that we going forward, and again, with the benefits of hindsight of all that has happened, we want to see the Attorney General being active as far as this case is concerned. We live in this country mostly, and we've seen what is going on with the MP, the Kwesi, Gyakye Kwesi's case, whereby the Attorney General is making sure that there's a daily trial of a case and such of an MP who is holding a dual citizen. For me, I don't see even that case being so much of what you call it, the public interest, as against this case of Namwan, who have defrauded thousands of people. Like you already said, people have lost their life. Literally, can connect it to murder one way or the other. People have lost their life. People have lost everything that they had. And I know people who are on sick bed, who have had stroke and all that. So the onus lies on Attorney General for me to take this case very seriously, and the same manner they are giving to the Gyakye case, whereby they go for daily trial. I think if there's a case that
deserves an hourly trial, hourly trial,
that have to have the daily trial.
This is hourly.
Case.
This so should not even be daily.
Just wake up to see that.
Yeah, I never saved up Men's Gold, but I don't think this should be a daily trial. This should be an hourly trial. It's been in the offing for too long. Too long. And because Ghanaians were told that Men's Gold was being shut because it didn't have license. 70 years.
So right.
And I really wish I could have a conversation with the Attorney General, because 7 years down the line, did he have to come out to tell people to pay 650 Ghana cedis before you take up the case up again? Did it have to wait that long? Because people's monies are stuck.
Absolutely not.
Anyway, thank you so much for speaking with us this morning.
Yeah.
But do you think that the monies will be paid?
Very good question. The last time I heard Namwan speak here, and he said he personally has lost yes, and it doesn't even go. Hearing such words come from a man is, I honestly doubt the money is available to be paid, because all his accounts has been frozen, and if your accounts are frozen, and if there's money really in those accounts, I'm sure government would have taken steps to make sure that some customers are paid back their investment that were locked up. I have a slim doubt that those monies will be paid, to be very honest, but I was involved in the activity, so I can't speak so much for that. Yeah, but I pray that at least some people can get some of their money, if not all, so that it will bring a bit of a joy to them. That is actually my prayer.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking with us this morning, Bernard. We are very grateful.
Thank you so much, Roslyn. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I've been speaking with Bernard Osei Tutu, junior investment analyst, and we are actually talking about Namwan's issue. Attorney General has given him some charges, 39 count of charges, because of his whole Men's Gold saga. Now, it's been 7 years. Men's Gold was actually shut because of illegalities. Why wait 7 years? When you read some of the accounts, it's actually backed by it's the very first one. I'll read it. Selling gold contrary to Section 991 of the Minerals and Mining Act. Criminal. Count 2. Operating a deposit-taking business without a license. So why is this man still on the street?
Yeah.
Anyway, let me start with you, Kwesi. I'll come to you, Julius.
Yeah. Thank you, Roslyn. But the record is that government preferred charges against Namwan.
So my time. So just 2 minutes.
That's fine. Okay. So there were charges against Namwan 3 years ago, but on 30th August, which was yesterday, the AG filed a nolle prosequi to discontinue the first charges. So it's not as if it's now that government is going to prosecute Namwan. There was a prosecution ongoing, but the AG has discovered fresh evidence now upon investigation.
The thing that people are saying is not about you haven't prosecuted. The question is, why the delay? What is causing the delay? You look at what Popna said. Gyakye Kwesi going on trial on daily basis, and this is somebody that probably should have been even way more than daily basis. So what was the delay for?
With the number one, with the Jachikwesi issue that I would want to restrain myself because it's in court now. But with the number one issue, what I'm saying is that there were charges. He was already in court. The state was prosecuting him, but the AG has now discovered fresh evidence, and the fresh evidence are supported by the 39 counts. I mean, 17 counts alone are on defrauding by false pretense, 7 counts on fraudulent breach of trust. There are money laundering charges. I mean, charges of operating without license. I don't want to make prejudicial comments, but I sincerely don't know how Namwan will come out of this. This one
day, if it comes out of it,
because reading yesterday, I was going through the charge sheet, and I must commend the AG's department. They did a very thorough job.
I went through it because it
covered all these. Yes. I mean, it was a very detailed charge sheet, and duping over 16,000 people is no joke. Over 1.6 billion. My goodness. If Roslyn gets that money, I'm sure.
You have to say billion.
It's not a joke. I mean, people's livelihood, people's investment, people's life. It's not easy. And for one man to just, try to play with the minds of Ghanaians, it's unfair. So let's commend the AG.
But it was a delay. We wanted a quick, but thank you so much for better late than never. Better late. AG, you've done well. Let me let Julius come in.
Well, the same way, thank you very much once again. The same way I would say that AG has done a yeoman job. He has done so well. But I was telling you something from the beginning, discipline and management of this economy in all aspects is key. When you are disciplined, you are disciplined. This issue should have taken care of itself long time by law. And the question of why at this time is also important because of the expediency that they have to put in place for this case to land flat so that there will not be any other issue. It boils down to discipline. If the person is wrong, even 2 charges, as you have mentioned.
Yeah, 2 charges is criminal. Anyway, thank you so much for being here, gentlemen. We are super grateful that you could make it.
I'm not happy you couldn't talk about the tax of the informal economy.
Oh my goodness, please, we'll bring you back again next week.
Because it's very important.
We'll do it next week.
Because their revenue is the strength of running government.
Don't worry, next week we'll do it. We got some messages coming in. And Timothy Awantrim, Honorable, you're watching. Thank you so much for watching. Good morning. He said the people of Dominasi are listening to the NPP rep. Does he know the number of budgeted projects that has not seen the light of day? NPP has borrowed over 476 billion and tax revenue of 383 billion cedis and still on borrowing spree. And here he goes on to say the total envelope of revenue to the NDC was 124 billion and the NPP was over 850. NPP is over 850 billion. Out of this amount, capital expenditure is just 53 billion cedis, including expenditure on roads. As at this morning, government is owing road contractors over 15 billion. Cocoa Board is in debt of 14 billion. He who much is given, much is desired. Corruption, 52 billion cedis. Auditor General report of NPP under Nanado and Baumia government. All right. Thank you so much for sending your message, Honorable Timothy Awantrim. Thank you so much for watching this segment. Okay, I think I have a quick message. I'll read this one from Metil Nunu saying, a group of people campaign to power to come and solve our problems and they become the problem we need to solve. Traffic lights are not working in most areas. Example is the one at the car price on the car price road. Bad roads everywhere. BOG making losses. 1 week, one corruption scandal. Inflation skyrocketing. Health sector suffering from infrastructure boost. Education sector in a mess. Hoarding of dollars in their rooms. High public debt and many more. Indeed, the NPP is a monumental failure and we as Ghanaians must solve this problem by voting them out. Let's vote JM in 2024 to rescue Ghana. EA Metal Nunu Jr. Thank you so much for sending your message. I don't have enough time to read all, but for those of you who sent in your messages, we are super grateful. I'll take this one. Osaji for KDM Tutu says, them tell your government to stop Galamsey because from what you said, it means the Galamsey is the reason for the increments.
The government is not doing galamsey on record.
Okay. Oh, somebody has sent you a love message. Joseph Kweku Wood says, Kwesi Boatwell Jr., love. He's a love. So you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
You're doing a good job.
Joseph Kweku Wood is a fantastic gentleman.
Yeah.
He actually works with Apostle Opoku.
Oh, okay, fantastic.
So, greetings to Apostle and Kweku.
Kweku, nice. All right, so we'll take a quick break on this note.